we move on to react to Bayern Munich. They conceded three and lost to Eintracht Frankfurt. Uh, you know, bad loss for or not bad loss, but unfortunate drop points for Bayern Munich in that display because of, I do have to say, because of how they lost, or how I keep saying lost. It feels like a loss for Bayern Munich now. Vincent Kompany, he would argue that based on what we heard from him in the post game presser. But yeah, it was a fun game. Again, really fun game. We had a quality off all over the pitch. What's crazy is you get two goals from Kim Min-jae Upamecano. Goals from Kim Min-jae Upamecano. But you also saw the vulnerabilities of them, and it's not. I don't want to put this all on the center halves. I do have to say, especially in this game. In this game, a lot of the goals that they conceded was not based on individual mistakes from the center halves, but it was just how open that they were. But Bayern overall, in terms of the 90 minutes, they dominated this game. They were the much better team. You look at the statistics: 24 shots for Bayern, 6 shots for Frankfurt, 13 shots for Bayern, 4 shots for Frankfurt. They dominated this game. They created more clear-cut opportunities. They had more control of possession. They played the game in Eintracht Frankfurt's half, and they took advantage. They took advantage of set piece opportunities. They got a nice goal from Olise as well. They played a really, really good game, and they were much better. Except Frankfurt in transition had that devastating nature to them. They were very, very ruthless. They were very, very clinical. And the thing with Bayern Munich early on this season is they've dominated teams and suffocated teams so hard, so tightly that other teams have been, can't get out of the initial press and be able to, challenge the Bayern Munich's defense. But what we saw from Eintracht Frankfurt, and yes, playing at home at the Duschbank Park has gives you that a little bit extra, oomph to do this. But they had that little bit of quality and composure to be able to play out of that initial press of Bayern. And what did I say? Once you're able to play out of that initial press of Bayern, you have so much space to attack this Bayern Munich team. Because, first of all, Alphonso Davies and Rafael Guerreiro, they're pushed up high in the field, joining into attack. Upamecano and Kim Min-jae, they're split out wide, and they're exactly not the most cohesive center-back partnerships. They're both vulnerable sometimes to certain mistakes. And you're going up against, a Frankfurt team that has pace in transition with Ekitike and Marmoush. That little bit of pace, direct ability, quality as well to, take advantage of the opportunities when they come. To be clinical with the opportunities when they come. The clinical and ruthless nature of Eintracht Frankfurt and the pace that they had to attack with the ability of being able to initially play out of the press is the reason why they could get 3 goals with only having 4 shots on target, with only having 6 shots in the game to get 3 goals. They were ruthless in transition. They had that devastating nature to them. And Bayern Munich, they have to make defensive adjustments. Number one, the center back partnership with Kim and Upamecano. Is that how Kompany see? Is that the way to go? Now, they don't have the depth to fix it. So if the personnel, is that an issue? In my opinion, yes. Some people will say it's just the way that they play. For me, Kim and Upamecano, sometimes they make mistakes trying to play out. Sometimes Kim is overly too aggressive, trying to win, battles in midfield, and he leaves space in behind. Sometimes he just makes defensive mistakes, last minute concentration. Upamecano, he has a daft mistake in him every other game or so. That's an issue. Number 2, you want to play as open as Bayern Munich play. Okay. And then on top of that, you have, in my opinion, issues with the center halves. If you want to attack with your fullbacks, at least have that relationship between them two. One goes up while one comes. So at least you have at least 3 in the back at all times. If Guerreiro goes up, leave Alphonso Davies in behind to stay behind with Kim and Upamecano. If Davies goes up, then left Guerreiro in behind. So at least you have that 3 back 3 there that you can keep some sort of unit. You're pushing both Alphonso Davies and Rafael Guerrero. You're forcing Kim and Upamecano to split out, which leaves you vulnerable to runs in between the middle. That gives a lot of space for players to play in transition, to go after these players. It's just too open. And against teams that have that quality to play out of the initial press, they'll fry Bayern. And they've made some mistakes so far, Bayern Munich, they have this season. They have conceded multiple goals in games that they shouldn't have. Against Werder Bremen, against Dinamo Zagreb. Dinamo Zagreb, that game finished 9-2, but Dinamo Zagreb brought it in halftime. They were able to make it 3-2, and it was a game for a little period, before they went on a run away. Against Aston Villa, they lost 1-0. The defensive vulnerabilities was there shown. Why? John Duran was able to get in the middle because Upamecano and Kim Min-jae are getting caught in the transition and they're not able to get back enough. They're trying to they're trying to get back to their original positions in transition. They leave themselves vulnerable for Duran to play in the ball behind. On top of that, a compounded mistake with Neuer trying to go get the ball. It leads to an empty net goal from John Duran. And against Leverkusen, Bayern completely dominated the game and they got the point. But Leverkusen, they were suffocated. They didn't even have they didn't have the means, the quality to threaten that back line because they couldn't get out of that initial press. So for me, some of these defensive issues have been masked in the 5-0 win in Werder Bremen, the 1-1 draw at Leverkusen, the 2-0 win over Freiburg. There's serious issues with Bayern. They're entirely way too open. And the mistake of all mistakes, in my opinion, and I don't understand. For the life of me, I could never understand this. How are you up 3-2 in the 94th minute? In the 94th minute, how are you up 3-2? And you concede an equalizer on a counter-attack in transition. How does that happen? Someone help me. How are you up 3-2 and you get countered in the 94th minute for the equalizer? How? What kind of game management is that? In my opinion, that's on Vincent Kompany. Vincent Kompany is a retired center half. Did it at the greatest of levels, playing for Manchester City, the Belgian national team. Why is he not getting the team back? Push that back line at least 10 yards back. Be more. What are they doing playing that high? Why are they even putting themselves in a position that they could be compromised like that? It's unbelievable to me. It is a horrible mistake. It is terrible game management. It's a terrible way to concede an equalizer. And that's the sort of mistakes that just cannot happen, that you cannot drop points on mistakes like that. It's a horrible mistake. Horrible mistake. You cannot get counterattacked in the 94th minute when you're defending a lead. It happened to Brazil at the World Cup against Croatia. They're up 1-0 in extra time, about 5 minutes or so left in the game, and they get counterattacked. And I had the same sort of message afterwards. I wasn't on this network. I was on another network where I was critical of, Chichi, the Brazilian manager at that time, and even the Brazilian players. And on top of that, the Bayern Munich players, they have some responsibility in this. Where's the leader? Where's the leader on that pitch? Why does he allow them to be in a position, the leader? Thomas Muller, yes, he's not, a defender or anything. Thomas Muller, Joshua Kimmich, the experienced guys in this team, even Harry Kane. Why aren't they yelling, drop back 10 yards? Let's all as a unit drop our block just 10-15 yards to make sure we're not in a position to be compromised this late into the game. And one mistake in midfield, a ball being played in, and now Omar Marmoush is in behind and scoring an equalizer just like that. In a place that Bayern Munich should have never been in. And it's unbelievable to me. I couldn't believe what I was watching when I saw the equalizer. I do have to say, shocking decision. Or not decision, but shocking game management.